All right, section 3.3, tests for parallelograms. This will be very similar to 6.2, some slightly different problems. Okay, so conditions for parallelograms. This is good to go review this again, okay, from the other day. So we have, if both pairs of the opposite sides of a quadrilateral are congruent, then it's a parallelogram. If both opposite angles are congruent to each other, then it's a parallelogram. If the diagonals bisect each other, then it's a parallelogram. If one pair of opposite sides is parallel and congruent, so in other words, parallel and congruent on one side, that means the other side has to be parallel and congruent, and therefore a parallelogram. Okay, so we're going to see if this is a parallelogram or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my picture with what I know. I know that these are congruent, and I know that these are congruent. Do opposite sides of a parallelogram congruent? Let's go back and check. If both pairs of opposite sides of a quadrilateral are congruent, then it's a parallelogram. Yep. So we're going to say yes. Opposite sides congruent. Okay, let's try another one. Let's look here. Here's all we know. One parallel side and one congruent side. Okay, well check this out. I could redraw this. I could make a trapezoid with parallel, right? With parallel sides. Is that a parallelogram? No. This cannot be, because the side must be parallel and congruent. That's the parallel symbol, not an 11. Okay, let's look here. We have our diagonals congruent. They are bisected. If you looked back up there, you would say, yes, this is a property. Diagonals are bisected, meaning that you cut them in half, and the halves are obviously congruent to each other. Okay? We just talked about this. The answer here is yes. Side is both parallel and congruent. Let's look here. What do these add up to? 118 plus 62 equals 180. Now, is that one of our proofs? Let's look up here. The answer is no. And here's why. We can once go again to a trapezoid, which we're going to learn about in the future. But a trapezoid could have that has these two supplementary. So this could be 62. This could be 118. Okay. The only problem is this would be, let's say, 95, and this would be, let's say, 85. Okay, so in the end, though, because both sides are supplementary, we're going to say yes, from what we learned the other day. Angles are supplementary. The other one I forgot to mention was that the opposite angles are congruent. Are these opposite angles congruent? Yes. Are these opposite angles congruent? Yes. Okay, so now we're going to find x and y. Okay, we know that these two are congruent, and we know that these two are congruent. So 7x equals 56. Divide by 7, x equals 8. And then we're going to do 5y minus 26 equals 4y minus 4. I'm going to subtract 4y. Y minus 26 equals negative 4. Plus 26 plus 26. Y equals 22. Okay, same thing over here. Now we're going to mark our sides. We know these opposite sides are congruent, and we know that these opposite sides are congruent. This is just good algebra practice. 3x plus 4 equals 5x minus 2. Add 2, add 2. 3x plus 6 equals 5x minus 3x minus 3x. 6 equals 2x. Divide by 2. And we get x equals 3. And I need to erase to give myself enough room. And I'm going to do 4y minus 9 equals 2y plus 5. Plus 9 plus 9. 4y equals 2y plus 14. Minus 2y minus 2y. 2y equals 14. Divide by 2, divide by 2. I'll write it way up top here. Y equals 7. So basically we're setting the opposite angles congruent or the opposite sides congruent in a parallelogram. Okay, we're going to do, I'm looking ahead here, crossed out a bunch. Okay, last one. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to set opposite sides congruent. And we are going to do opposite angles congruent. I'm going to have you guys do this on your own. Come back and check your answers. 2y equals y plus 19. I'm just going to subtract a y from both sides. Y equals 19. And then I have 2x minus 8 equals x plus 16. Because I'm running out of room, I'm going to do this like this. I'm going to subtract x from both sides and add 8 to both sides. So x will equal 24. Come over here. 4x minus 35 equals 3x plus 10. Minus 3x minus 3x. X minus 35 equals 10. Add 35. You get x equals 45. Okay, I'm going to erase. And now we're going to do 2y minus 5 equals y plus 15. Subtract y. Get y minus 5 equals 15. Add 5. And you get y equals